My name is Eric Perez, by the way. I work with Veronica Figueroa. I help her basically run all her businesses, which gets a little hectic at times, and all her ideas and events and things like that. So I'm a big supporting cast member to her. So we're gonna talk about how to buy and hold properties, and obviously have expert guests that have done this many times. Myself, I've only done this twice, and I actually have a partner named Drew that a lot of you guys know that's actually trying to save a deal right now, going forward. But conceptually, the way grid worked, it's more of an educational and a syllabus style structured. The first one was how to find a deal. The second one was fix and flipping, renovations, or that's actually the last one. I think the second one was how to fund the deal. I apologize. The third one was how to fix and flip and renovate. And today we're talking about how to buy and hold. And we're going to talk about it. Oh, it's not clicking. This is not what I need. That'll help me out. I'm just gonna do this. Sorry about that. That was the intro. I already did that. Remember? How's that work? Oh, there it is. There it is. This is the. Okay. Well, this is not the right slide. This is the Dream Team one. This is in the right camera. By the way, I have it on my phone, so I'll run through it. So I apologize for that. So what is buy and hold? So typically when you do fix and flips, your timeline is 12 months in terms of you owning the property max. That's if a reno really does take a long time and you're basically putting it to the studs. Buying and holding is a commitment for a long time. Eventually, a lot of investors do sell their, I don't know, I heard a big term, legacy properties, like when they've held them from a long period of time, 10, 15 years. But it's the whole idea of, making money off of rental income and long term. And there's a lot of value and, there's some challenges and a lot of value with it that go along with it. But, it's something that is more tied to wealth building, and it's not so much of a short, instant transaction like a wholesale or fix and flip would be, and where you just make the economic growth based on the margins you have on it. It is much more into the future, which also gives you a lot of more creative ways to fund the deal, and your ability to acquire multiple fix and holds and doors is really a great way for passive income and passive wealth. I'm relatively new to the real estate industry. I'm only about 2 years in, and a lot of the successful people that I've gotten to talk to and deal with in my life, they all have multiple doors, and this is a way for them to make that passive income. So there's a couple things to consider when you're looking into, getting a property that you're going to buy and hold or rent out. Number one is how much free cash. Like, what does your economics look like? A lot of the time, if you don't have that 25% or a good chunk of cash to go into a deal, that's why typically investors start, if real estate's your full time, wholesaling and fixing and flipping, so you can rinse, repeat your money over and over again. This is a much more and a much longer of a commitment going forward. And then also, what is your long-term strategy, right? Like Veronica clearly said hers, she wants 15 doors by 45. So she has 11 today and she's on the pathway too. This is a great way to have a long-term strategy in terms of financials and wealth. And it's very, there's a lot of ways to do it. I know there's people from Northwestern Mutual here. That's a way that you can, let your long-term strategy. But in terms of real estate, obviously keeping as many properties, to have as many rental units is a big and long-term strategy for that. What is your tolerance for risk? What happens when things go wrong? This is not really the method to, like, all eggs in one basket method, because there are things that can happen through it. There's terrible tenants, and I'll put it out there, like a lot of people during COVID got burnt because they had a lot of rental properties and a lot of people didn't have to pay, and for a long period of time. And so you have to understand your tolerance for risk as well. And also your tolerance for risk considers rehabs, how many current loans you have out there, because sometimes you do find a great deal, but you don't have the economics to get into it, right? So then your tolerance for risk will go higher if you decide to do so. So this isn't like I don't want to deter people from thinking about it as a good pathway to doing so, but there is some risk involved, especially because now you're going to go from managing a property to actually managing people. And if anybody's actually managed people, they are one hell of demons. They can be demons inside. So yeah, says the guy. I operate 25 staff members and over 60 agents. So there's 85 people I have to deal with. If they had to pay me money every month, that would be terrible. So always keep that in consideration as well. Also, where, like, your location is good. Like, to go into something this long term in terms of commitment, from a commitment standpoint, it's important to you to know the area, where you're buying, where you're going to invest your time and efforts in, because this is not something that's sporadic. This is something that's it's reoccurring. You're going to be investing this for a long, long time. And then when you do want to release the property, if you do want to release the property, you have to understand that you picked an area where that can actually happen. A lot of people go for low-hanging fruit, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And they buy in areas where it's inexpensive to get in. They have terrible tenants, and then they can't even sell it for that same reason, because someone more educated sought out the deal and was like, yeah, nah, I'm not picking up your headache, so to speak. How do you intend to keep a rental? How long do you intend to keep a rental investment as well? Some people have, I know we just got a deal from somebody that was supposed to close today, it's supposed to close next week, but he was, he's 78 years old. He literally owned that property for 25 years. Like, he went through the entire concept of how long you can hold it. He doesn't have any family to leave it to, so now he's going to the market. We're able to get a sub-2 deal out of it, so it's pretty cool. He just needs some cash for some personal things he's going through now as an older gentleman, but you want to think about how long you plan on being in every property that you acquire. How will you manage it, right? And I think it says, okay, cool, so back up here. How are you going to manage your first one? Are you going to use a property management company? Or you can do it yourself? And then if you're really into scaling this, always think about how you're going to manage 10 as well. I know a lot of times from a real estate perspective, a lot of teams actually start their own property management company, but from an individual perspective, think about how are you going to manage door one, and then how are you going to scale that process going forward, because especially if it's not your day-to-day, you're not going to want to deal with those headaches as well. So you're going to have to put something in place that will assist you there. What is your rate of return compared to other investments? If you have other vehicles to put your money in that specific deal, we're actually going to go over a structure of a deal today. That specific deal that you get into is not necessarily on pace with your other types of investments. You got to understand that you're going to something that's not going to give you the same return as something else that you do. But knowingly and understanding that, you should be good to go. You good? Mm-hmm. Is it working now? Okay.
Yeah.
And what is your rate of appreciation? Right? Do you expect from your real estate? How's it going to move throughout the market? How's it going to move throughout time? And where are you going to end up when it's said and done? And typically that all ties to you actually knowing where the property's at and what you're going to buy it at. Next slide, can you go to renovating? Mm-hmm. So this is what I just referenced to. So when you are looking for this, especially when you have a renovation project, you want to go to lower to middle market properties. You don't want to go super high scale because they're expensive to renovate. There's less people literally in America that would pay your rent prices for you to actually get a return. And then you also don't go by the bottom, because what I said before, you have unsavory tenants who aren't paying. It's going to cost you money. Your risk tolerance goes higher when you look for those areas. And then obviously when you do want to unload the property, it's a lot harder for you to get rid of because you don't have a strong P&L because you are getting paid. And obviously people that do pick up investment properties at a high level, they're going to want to see the numbers. Like, everybody's going to want to see the P&L and what's your ability to actually move through or earn money from that property. Renovating. If you do renovate, you just got to fix what's broken and what's the maintenance level, right? To give it habitable to some level. You don't need to go crazy, just like a fix and flip. You need to get it to the point though, to where your tenants aren't calling you to complain about X, Y, and Z. Don't do shoddy work, fix it to completion. It's a long-term investment. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, right? So if you make sure everything's taken care of fundamentally, especially like the AC, any leaks coming from the roof, from the windows, those are the first things you're going to call about. And you're going to get called on always, because no one wants to live in a hot house in Florida, and no one wants to have them getting rained on. I lived in a couple of shitty homes in college. I wasn't super big on calling my landlord because I was also having a lot of parties out of there, so I didn't really care about that. But so I was ruining it as the days went on. But conceptually, think you're going to want to take care of the minimum. If the air conditioner was broken, I was definitely picking up the phone and giving them a call. And only one time did we have a leak in our sunroof, and they fixed the roof. And then actually, one of the workers fell through it while we're in the living room. That's a whole different story, a different time. But yeah, that's something to definitely think about. Property management. This is a big one for sure. It's a lot easier to manage a single property, obviously, if you're going to put the time and commitment into it, right? And it's a little bit, I actually talked to Veronica about that. It's a little bit easier if you do have it like a single unit you're going to manage because you'll actually interview the tenant to see what you're getting yourself into. But you can always get a property management company to help you scale. I think it's like it's 8 to 10 of gross rent and about a month of the month's rent at turnover. So there's some costs associated in doing that. So if that is your route, make sure you factor that into your deals as well when you're looking at a property. And a good PM can send you your P&L if they're managing effectively, and the financial report as well if they're managing effectively.
Yeah, and I just want to talk about the importance of a good property manager. There are property managers out there who will also help you secure a tenant if you want to manage your own rental portfolio, but they'll do all of the screening for you. They'll place the tenant, they'll collect the funds, and then you can handle the monthly maintenance, management, which I have one property like that. All of my other properties are either short-term rentals, and I have a property manager that handles all of my Airbnbs. She does it completely remote. She actually goes and stages all my properties. She does all the communication with my guests. She handles all the reconciliation. She handles all of my property management of my cleaners. So she gets a percentage of the monthly income plus a small percentage of the cleaning fees, but she takes away the day-to-day management for me. My long-term tenant, that one really doesn't bother me. My husband and I communicate with her, but I did hire a property manager to place that tenant and set up the initial credit checks and what we were expecting because we wanted top dollar. So there's different ways of working with a property manager. There's not just one size fits all. But I am a big believer that if you cannot manage the property yourself, that you hire a professional who can help you. It will give you, peace of mind. And I'm so busy running businesses and other things. I don't have the time to do that. I actually have 3 types of portfolios. I have a long-term tenant. I actually have actually 4. One is for a business, and then the others are short-term rental, and then 1 nursing corporate housing, which is by one of the hospitals. And we do those three months at a time. And usually, we have nurses who are coming in to work at the hospital, and those pay a little bit more. So I have a variety of what our long-term tenants look like. But for each and every one of them, except one, I have a property manager.
Okay, Vero, thank you. All right, so the next one's loan considerations. We'll go over this one pretty quickly. You go to the next slide, Veronica. I think you're controlling it, right? Some of this, cool. So most investment property require a 25% equity on purchase price or appraised value. Obviously, there's ways around it. That's a typical loan, and up to 10 properties can be financed using conforming Fannie Mae loans. And conforming loan rentals must usually be owned personally, not through an LLC. On the contrary, there's many other ways to finance a long-term hold. There's subject to, there's the burn method. You can use some hard money and refinance when you get out of it after a few periods of time. But this is the typical structure and what's going to happen with it. So just be aware of that. Going through, Veronica, can you go like 3 slides forward? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. I want to get through this. So the panel at the top. Okay, cool. So we're just going to get to it in the final thoughts. So conceptually, owning individual properties as rental is a long-term game, and it's definitely an accumulation game. typically, usually, like when you're doing this, you want to be able to think ahead and think about your overall portfolio when you start with your first property, add your second one. But at giving times of the market, there's going to be advantageous moments and not advantageous moments. And today we are moving towards where typical houses are taking pretty steep price reductions. I'll be quite honest with you on it. And so one of the advantages that goes to it, and one thing that we talk about a lot was like as these interest rates rise and where they fall today, they've kind of stabilized a little bit. Rental rates also rise. So it's becoming more prime for you to actually buy the real estate and get into long-term holds. And, you know, with that being said, it's definitely a goal of probably a lot of you guys that are in here and are looking for the opportunity to do so. And, you know, I would love to bring up the panel that is the experts in actually doing this from a day-to-day basis. So Veronica, would you like to introduce a few? Oh, that's just
yes, and just for everyone who's watching and here, we can make sure that you guys get a copy of the slides so you can go back and read up on them. And if you want to just kind of go through them to get a little bit more you know, in depth, if you need to read them, we can provide those to you. So I'll make sure you have them in the chat, and then we'll email them as well through the push notification. But our guest panelists, they're amazing. Each and every one of them are expert, rightfully so, in their respective field. When I asked for Duhamel to come, it was because, you know, his strategy of long-term hold and wealth building is unique, and he's on a mission to change the wealth game. Rizal with Northwestern Mutual, you know, I'm a big believer in working with your financial advisors and the benefits that, you know, rental properties can give you and the tax advantages as well. And working with a good tax advisor and a financial advisor, they'll oftentimes tell you when it's time to sell, not just your real estate agent. Sometimes, you know, they'll help you. And then, of course, Javi was recommended by the one and only Israel. He's like, I know the GOAT of buy and holds, someone who's been building a rental portfolio for many, many years, over a decade, and is just killing the game. So thank you so much, Javi, for being here. And then we also have Mo, who is someone that is very experienced in the investment world, wholesale, and also going after properties and building his portfolio. So you're going to actually hear from people who are doing this. I am not as grand as all of them, but I'm really proud of my little portfolio that's, you know, generating, you know, well over $250,000 to $300,000 a year in passive income, which again, this is about the wealth game, guys. This is about building a portfolio that, you know, is predictable. Yes, I can go out there and do a bunch of flips, but listen to these guys because they have strategies where you can mix up your portfolio. So Eric, I'll let you take it over, and welcome to our panelists.
Yeah, so the panelists, please come up, and so we can start the conversation. So I'll give you guys a round of applause. We're microphone less today.
You want to go? I'll turn
Check,
them on.
check. Hope you guys can yell.
Do you want your slides to go first?
A lot of guys on that panel. I think I'm going to include myself as the lady on the panel.
You said your portfolio was small.
I know. Hey, Mylene.
Guys, so we can start. Demuel, just introduce yourself to everybody.
What's up, everybody? Duhamel here. I'm a multi-family investor. I create funds, and these funds purchase and operate apartment complexes. Hello, Vero.
Hey.
So I'm Roselle Smart. I'm with Northwestern Mutual Financial Advisor. I was prior military. I've been in the area for about 6 years now. Happy to be here. My name is Mohammed Khan, and I started real estate about 7 years ago, and I was sitting where most of you guys sit right now as a realtor, and have since just started investing straight out of the gate, and have been able to crawl my way out of being a realtor, and now have enough assets to basically come out of that. Hang out all day. I'm bored at home. Hang out all day. How you guys doing? I'm the broker owner of Font Statewide Realty, the CEO of Statewide Home Solutions, and I also mentor students for a living on how to get started with real estate. I've been investing since 2009. I've had a portfolio of 40 doors. I'm down to 28 for the decisions that I made.
But I'm an open book, guys. You know, I moved out here from Connecticut, unemployed. My first job here was Disney World. So from zero to being penniless. So any questions? I'm open game.
Love that. Love that. So I know I specifically asked each and every one of you guys here to be here because of your expertise. So I'm gonna, because I know Duhamel is gonna actually present an opportunity towards the tail end. So I want to give everyone else an opportunity to kind of share the benefits and the reason you choose to buy and hold, or have that blend in your portfolio. But I think I'll start off with Rizal, like you as from a financial advisor, what are some of the benefits as to why you encourage your clients to buy property and hold property, and some of the tax advantages that they get, or the financial advantages?
Point simply is so they can retire early. I like to play golf and I need buddies to play golf with. For example, I had a chat with someone last night. She's a nurse practitioner. She got a late start in her career, so for her to accumulate enough assets to just retire off of a 401k or something like that, it's not going to be feasible, and I had to be honest with her. I was like, we're going to accumulate your assets and we're going to create a vehicle for you where you are able to buy or invest in something like real estate. You need something that's going to pay you month after month and give you the lifestyle that you want, because we don't have enough time for you to accumulate $3 million inside your 401k so that you can make $150,000 in retirement. So another thing that I like to use a proactive approach before you get into real estate. I want to make sure that you have your liquid savings where it needs to be. I want to make sure that your portfolio is diversified, right? Because I don't want you to have everything, all your eggs in one basket, and something happens with real estate. You have tenants that are stuck in there, they're not paying, you can't kick them out, and now you're stuck, right? Because they're not stuck with losing their home or getting their credit messed up. You are. So we do a comprehensive plan to make sure that this is the right time for you to do it and you have the right resources to do it, right? Also, I like to minimize risk. I will show you different ways where you can leverage your own money, where we can take advantage of this excellent market. But however, if things go south, you're going to be okay. All right. Everybody can be your friend, tell you what to do when things are going well. What are we going to do when stuff hits the fan? And now it's like, oh crap, I got all these properties. Do I have to file bankruptcy? What is it going to take for me to sustain this until it turns? Because history has shown us that we will have great times and we will have not so great times. And then it will repeat itself. All right. So we know what's going to happen. We prepare for it so that we can take advantage of every situation. When people are scared to buy, you're not, because you're doing it from a less risky standpoint. Right. And when things are going great, it's like, hey, well, have that.
I love that. Thank you. Mo, what you got for us?
So, I mean, I'll tell you guys a little bit more. So I had about 100 doors about a year ago. I bought everything in 2020 when people were panicking and the whole world was shut down. That's when I bought my dream house that I'm living in now, and it was kind of a scary moment. And then also I ended up buying about 100 doors that year, and I got owner financing on most of them. I got amazing terms because banks weren't lending at that point. So I used that as leverage to the sellers to say, hey, you guys want to sell these properties? I want to buy it. And I was able to put minimal down payments down, probably like 20% or so, and then get like 4% interest, like 20-year, 30-year amortizations on them. So my cash on cash return was crazy. And then what I love about multifamily or just commercial properties or buy and hold is the value add aspect of it, because investors basically buy on cap rates. So it's all about what the rate of return is. So if you know that, you're going into a property and let's say rents are $800 a month, market's $1,400-1,500 a month, and then you're buying, let's call it 20 doors, it's all really simple math in the end. It's really not that complicated. So once you just figure that out, you can retire pretty quickly. And I kept hearing this when I was learning a lot from multifamily people or just commercial people. They said, all it takes one commercial deal to change your life. And it is a fact, so, you guys can all look out for that as opportunities every day. And even as an agent, you will go and you'll meet with sellers who are selling properties. Sometimes they're older folks and, you'll say, hey, what else do you guys have? And a lot of these guys have commercial properties, but with your agent cap on, like you're not thinking about, hey, how can I pursue that? Is that something I can buy and value at? Or is that something that I can list or sell? So there's a lot of opportunities out there. You just don't know what you don't know until you actually know it.
I love that. I think you and Duhamel are gonna have a lot of fun connecting and collaborating. You guys are speaking each other's love language here, multifamily, commercial. Javi, how'd you get started and what do you got?
So when I got started, you see, everybody thinks that you need money and credit. I got plugged in with a lot of hard money lenders and private lenders. And as long as you know how to evaluate a property correctly, at that time I was getting properties at 70% of ARV. And I do a lot with Section 8. So how I do it is practically a property comes up, I call a private lender, and then the private lender runs his comps. I usually try to convince the lender on how much it's worth and then how much I got it under contract. So then I can obtain the loan at the most high as possible. And then once I secure it, I touch it up, make sure everything is good. And I put it under the Section 8 list, so I've built a relationship with Section 8 in different counties, Osceola, Polk, Orange. So I would encourage you guys to, you see, in 2020, when COVID happened, a lot of landlords wasn't receiving their funds, but Section 8 was still depositing the first of the month. So it's more on the reason why I have a heart with Section 8 participants is because my family, we come from practically a Section 8 housing and that era up north. So I like to help low income families. As long as the numbers make sense, you can help low income families. But that's practically it. I leverage private lenders. And there's a lot of hard money lenders out there that you guys can leverage also, like Lima Capital or Lending Home. So it's just there's quite a bit of funds out there. You just got to make sure you find the right properties.
Hey, Javi, how many properties, how many doors do you own?
Right now, I'm 28.
28. That's awesome. Shout out to Javi also for staying true and wanting to make an impact in the low housing market. Affordable housing is something obviously we know is a real struggle. So thank you for sharing that. That's pretty awesome. And I know you actually coach and bring people underneath your wing as well in this space. I definitely low key stalked your IG and clicked all your funnels. So I think I'm gonna be stuck in your pipeline there. So I'm excited to connect deeper. Duhamel, I'm gonna let you talk a little bit. I know you're gonna wrap us up towards the tail end, but I want to ask a couple more questions. But very much to what Mo talked about, one deal can change your life. What was that opportunity that you ran across that changed your mindset and made you quit your full-time Disney engineer job to go full-time into this? And the amount of deals you're working with right now, how'd you get started?
Yeah, so I do, if you guys are familiar with the word syndications, it's quite simply, we create funds to purchase apartment complexes. And what I do is I reach out to investors like most of you guys who have a lot of cash in the bank. A lot of you guys are high rolling real estate investors, real estate agents that are making a lot of cash. So I help you take that cash, put it into a multifamily building that's going to get you 18 to 20% yearly on your investment. So you can continue to do what you do best if being a hands-on investor isn't your thing. Now, being a hands-on investor, if being a hands-on investor is your thing, we do have, we joint venture all the time with people like yourselves that want to be more involved. Now, joint venturing is a job. Asset managing and operating apartment complexes is a job. Eric was talking about managing people. We have to manage teams. We have to manage property managers, manage contractors. And for me specifically, I love being in a team environment. I love changing people's lives. People that are investing with us get these opportunities to save on their taxes and watch their wealth grow while they continue to do what they love. So for me, that's why syndication, it's a little bit different than what these guys up here are doing. By the way, one of my mentors is here, Ramon. Feel free to pick his brain. He's a buy and hold guy. but it's all the same concept in the end. We want to preserve our wealth and grow our wealth.
What are some of those tax advantages that I think people are not aware of? I think, Roselle, can you take on that?
Sure, I'll take that one. I'll take that one. For one, you do not pay taxes on debt, right? And I teach you how to create revenue through debt so you can go invest. All right, so you guys heard the term infinite banking, right? So everybody's seen the TikToks and things like that. But I show you the practical way of how this is done, the ups and downsides of doing it. But when you use infinite banking the right way, it is amazing. You get to kill two birds with one stone, right? You get to grow money in a non-market correlated venture where if the stock market's down, we don't care. You're still going to get a 5% rate of return on your money. But then you're able to take a line of credit against that and then go do whatever you need. Your line of credit is going to be 95% of the value of that account. Right? So you're able to take that money. I don't care if you go buy more real estate or if you decide that you're going to go live it up in Vegas, whatever the case may be. Right? That line of credit typically is an interest-only loan. So it allows you to go faster because you're not responsible for the principal side of the loan. Right? So you can just pay the interest, and that interest in most times is tax deductible.
This is where it gets really fun. It's the tax game is where I think it's so sexy and so cool. I just had a property that picked it up, Center Street, picked it up for I think 300, 320, put a little bit of money into it. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, out of the owl now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'll be quick. I was just saying, I picked up a property on Center Street over by the hospital. That property, I picked it up for 300 or 320, put a little money into it, just refinanced it. It's a little over 600,000, pulled money out. It's cash flowing. I mean, just all these, I did a debt service loan on it. I actually lowered my rate because originally I got a hard money loan on it. So, I mean, it's such a great cash flow, but also the benefits and also the financing opportunities that I have for it. You know, and it's just so much, there's so many benefits, but you've got to have the right people in your corner. So if you don't have like a Roselle in your corner, like this is the time for you to meet someone like him so they can help you strategize. I've done that for a number of my properties. And now the goal is to take that, you know, cash flow and buy other properties. So, and guys, can we please make sure like you guys like are not accepting cash for rent, you know, like you actually are claiming everything so you can take advantage of all the tax benefits and incentives that you have. I see a lot of people make mistakes like that. I look frozen on my end, so I don't know if you guys can hear me. I think we may have lost them. Are you guys there?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I think they're gonna reconnect. I think I may have lost connection with them real quick. Let's see. But let me get that slide deck on here for you guys real quick. Are you guys finding value in the content that they're sharing today?
Yes, very interesting.
Okay, cool. And then if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to ask. We want to make sure that you guys participate on this as well. Let me see real quick. Oh, looks like their computer shut down. So all right. It looks like they might be trying to reconnect. If not, if you guys want to confirm that you got the slides, that you could open that up. And if we can't get our panelists back up, I will make sure you guys have all of their information. They're trying to stream us back in. They had a technical issue on their end and the computer shut it off. So if you guys want to hang around and maybe chat it up, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions and connect. Hold on one second. Rick, what's your? Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
Rob.
apologize. My computer just completely shut off. I apologize.
No, you guys continue. We'll just listen.
So I'll answer his question out loud. He was like, hey, what happens to that $18 million? One thing that you can do is with your investors, you can assign them a portion of your life insurance policy. He's like, hey, man, if something happens to me, I guarantee you, you are going to get your money back. Like, yeah, I know that I'm the think tank of this. And if somebody else has to take over, you may be worried. Don't worry about it. You're going to get your money back.
That's brilliant.
All right? It
really
is.
What happens, can you have more than one going simultaneously?
So here's the thing, right?
Okay.
Yep, I have it on my entire family, including my kids.
Okay.
So I don't know if my kids, and I've said this many times, I don't know if college is going to be the thing to do, right? I don't know if they're going to be 18 and have a YouTube channel making $200,000 or what, or if, because I plan to do a lot of buy and holds myself. If at 15, he's like, Dad, can I go with you? At 16, he's like, can I buy my first one? At 18, when he graduates, he has five houses, and he's like, do I have to go to college? Not really. Yeah, but I'm growing their future fund. I'm not doing a 529 plan or anything like that, where I'll be subject to taxation if I don't use it for educational expense. I'm growing their future fund through cash value life insurance, right? So the benefits are, one, I'm not going to pay taxes. Two, I can use it to pay for a wedding. I can use it for capital for a business, down payment on their first home. Or if my kids are just absolute crap heads and they're not doing what they're supposed to do, they can't even check the balance unless both me and my wife pass away. When you do these types of lines of credit, you can, every policy that you own can be combined into one line of credit.
So then when you fund that, you said fund it for 7 years.
Mhm.
You can't fund it for the 8? Is that the?
So we can cut it off, but once we cut it off, it's done.
Okay.
Right? So I can have it where it's not set to cut off, and then when you decide you're done, you just cut it off.
Okay.
Or you can say, hey, I'm just going to give you $100,000 for 7 years and let it ride.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. I mean, because I put money away for my kids every month anyway.
Yep. So
Rather
that's,
put it into something where there's a benefit if something happens.
I'm not putting in a UTMA where at a certain age it is theirs no matter what, right? Because sometimes my kids scare me and I'm like, crap, I don't, you know. And also I don't want them to just hit the lottery and be like, oh, all right, you want to buy me a Lambo?
Yeah.
So this controls it a little bit more. You know, we can get into trust and things like that where your portfolio is so layered that nobody can do anything, because unfortunately in this world we live in, people do bad things. People target certain types of people. Right. So, you know, we talk about things where not even just through insurance, but through regular investment accounts. It's like, hey, at a certain point, I have my escrow from these rental incomes. What do I do? I'm not ready. I don't need the money yet. What do I do? Right. We invest that money for you inside of an investment account that the LLC owns. And now that money is growing even faster so that you can increase your portfolio sooner, because you can't save your way to retirement. You have to invest.
You know,
I think what we're discovering is that buy and hold, the name of the game is wealth protection, wealth preservation, wealth growing, and then eventually passing that wealth on. You know, that's what the privileged have kept a secret for a while, and it's time for us to participate. And it's like we know the right people to participate with. But the name of the game is wealth. That is why we're here, because that is what we can pass on.
And I'll throw something in there. So I I can tell you that every single person in this room could become a billionaire. And all you need to do is understand two things, compound interest and time. So even if you started with $100, because you know the whole penny double for 30 days thing. So like that's what I do. All I do is study numbers. So before I even acquire all these rental properties and all that stuff, I just set a goal for myself, and my goal was a number goal. I know Veronica's goal is 15 units. My goal was like, hey, I want to make $1,000, $30,000 a month net income. So that way I can go on a beach and make $1,000 a day, and every day I wake up, I'm making $1,000. And on that 30-day or the third of the month when I get paid, I can go blow all my money, and the third of the month it comes right back. I can go blow it all the money, the third of the month it comes back. So that's what's separate. That for me, that's what I liked about rental income or passive income is I didn't need a job. I don't have to sell houses. I don't have to flip houses. I don't have to do any of that. To me, that was true retirement and the fastest way to get there. So I think for all of you, again, just study compound interest and just come up with a simple formula for yourself on what that looks like for you. So if you can say, hey, your number is $1 million, your number is 5 million, your number is 10 million, all you got to do is say, all right, well, how much money do I have now? How much money do I need? And how much time do I need? I know for a fact that like the way my numbers work, by the time I'm 59, it'll be $3 billion. And all I have to do is compound at 40% a year until I hit age 59. And it's as simple as that. So I think that's like everything you guys need to know for building wealth.
In the last 5 years, you're when you really make your money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the truth. Yeah.
Just gotta find ways to multiply your earned income. You know, we all gotta go out there and earn it, and we can't waste it. You know, we have to invest it, multiply it. And so if you're just earning and blowing, you know, by the time you're older, you're not gonna see it. We all have an expiration date. You know, average lifespan is what, 78, 80 years old. So we know where we're going. So it's just a matter of starting now. You know, you don't need to be rich to do this. You just need to have the right information. You just need to have the right resources.
Not much money at all.
Nope.
So one of my goals with this platform and this community, whether it's big, small, that it has substance, right? And is that if you have a deal or you just don't know where to get started, that you feel comfortable partnering with people that have experience. And obviously these expert panelists have opportunities where they have connections with lenders, they have the resume, they have experience, and some of you may just be getting started. And you know, you think, oh, well, I want to do this on my own. I built my business based on the philosophy of having mentors and people who can show me the way. What would you say to someone, Javi, Mo, or even Dwamel, which I know you're going to talk about the opportunities you have, like if they have an opportunity or they run across something, what kind of deal would you partner with someone on? I think each and every one of you guys are, you know, similar, but yet unique in your own way. Do you partner with agents? Do you help them with their first deal? Like what kind of deal are you looking for? Do you say, hey man, hit me up if you need help with X, Y, Z?
I'll say 30% of my deals are coming from agents. So I'll partner with agents. Right now, the hard part is the deal. It's not the money. I have way more money than I have deals. So if you guys find anything at all, just give me a call. I'll give everyone my number that wants it. You bring me anything that makes sense. And again, for me, it's no like particular property. If you bring me a car that you get for $5,000 and we can flip it for $40,000, I'll do it. If you say, hey, I got a watch I got for $3,000, I can flip it for 10 real quick. It doesn't matter. You know, a deal is a deal, and numbers are numbers. So it's really that simple for me. It doesn't have to get too complicated. Obviously, the bigger the deal, the better. And what I've discovered through just the years, if you want to make $1,000 a deal, do $10,000 deals. If you want to make $100,000 a deal, do $1 million deals. If you want to make $1 million a deal, like just move up from there. The only difference between making $10,000 and $1 million is 2 zeros. So, you know, it's really as simple as that. Just simple math.
Yeah, I'm constantly evaluating deals. Acquisitions is what I love doing. I love looking at properties or even like that, any type of investment that makes sense. You know, right now I'm helping my uncle. He loves cars. So where he's constantly, you know, because I gave him that job is OfferUp, you know, Facebook Marketplace. He's constantly looking at deals. And it's just, once you know what something is worth, you just have to buy it for less and have enough spread. You know, it's like, that's why Costco's, you know, all these big franchises make millions of dollars, you know, billions of dollars at that. So it's just knowing your numbers, evaluating things correctly, and I'm open. If you guys all have a deal, and you guys, I'm very resourceful. I'm an open book. You know, the biggest thing that sometimes us realtors face is that we know what a deal is, and then we put all these obstacles, you know, and the biggest obstacle is I don't have the money, or where am I gonna get the money? And honestly, the money is not even the hardest part. The deal, finding a right deal is the hardest part. And understanding, you know, where you're buying, doing your little market research, understanding different markets, different zip codes. And once you learn that, then, and again, I'm an open book, so just reach out.
For us, my business partners here, Myron, for us, multifamily in Central Florida, 5 units and above, we'll take any size on. The further away you get from Central Florida, a couple of hours, you know, our scale has to go up. So we're looking at like 50 units and higher once you get up to Jacksonville area, get into Georgia. But if we've had some deals come to us from realtors that don't know what to do with multifamily deals. And we could partner with you on them. We find it, we'll partner with you on them. But we're also creating, you know, we talked earlier about creating these passive investment opportunities as well. So we have multiple ways to be able to partner with us.
Domel, I think you have a little bit of a breakdown of where people could actually invest in your syndication right now. I mean, do you want to talk a little bit about that real quick?
Sure. So
I think you had a presentation and all.
Yeah, let's do the presentation.
All right.
I'd like to, yeah, I'd like to present to you guys what these syndications are in case you guys haven't heard of them, and the benefits of investing passively into one of these. Whenever we're ready, because we're still on the panel. I'm not trying to steal the thunder.
You guys have any questions? Anything that is a thought that you guys want to ask?
I actually did. On the infinite banking stuff, does it have to be solely post-tax funds? Can somebody convert it 401 or something?
I'll put it to you like this. Do you want to pay taxes on your seed or your harvest? All right, tax man's gonna get theirs. So we do, there are some situations where you can deduct, but then like if, you know, that's attached to a death benefit. So if you tax deduct what you're paying in, they're gonna tax that death benefit. Okay. All right. So we can pay taxes on 100 G's or we can pay taxes on 6 million.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, that makes sense.
I think it is a double-edged sword though, because if you put in that pre-tax income, it's actually a larger number growing, but then you have to pay the taxes on it. So it could kind of go either way, I think, right? Yep. And then a huge component of this, which also stops some people from doing it, is it's based off your health, right? So like you guys are a partner, right? So it's like, well, one loves cigars and one doesn't smoke. So we're gonna put it on the one.
How'd you know that?
So we're gonna put it on the one that doesn't smoke, right? Because it's gonna give you the best bang for your buck because the cost of insurance is gonna be less.
Okay, that makes sense.
Is it essentially like a specialized type of whole life policy?
It is, right? So two factors go into that. It's the type of whole life policy, because there are many, many types, and it's the company that's sponsoring it, because you want money back. The company has to perform, right? So if the company is barely getting by, then they can't give money back to you. All right, you get with a financially secure company, and it's all right, like market is down. For example, Northwestern Mutual, all throughout the pandemic, they didn't change their dividend rate. 2008, when everything was going down, they still were giving, you know, astronomical dividend rate, because they have their business structure modeled so conservatively that they can give you what they're going to give you, even when things are not performing well. They have the reserves to take advantage when the market is down. Right, Northwestern Mutual owns Millennium Mall, so it's like I know my wife gives her fair share, you know, and I don't think they're going anywhere. So just with inflation alone, these insurance companies have been around for over 100, 150 years. They can't lose money just because they have so much invested over such a long period of time. That I think, like, the statistics are like, let's say they're paying out 20 billion this year in death benefits. They got like 180 billion left over. Like, I think if everyone, the whole policy died, they would still have money. So that's how financially healthy. And that's where banks are putting their money. So why wouldn't, you know, there's stuff called bank-owned life insurance,
right? They're top executives, like they put these huge policies on them and say, hey, we'll give your family some, but we're gonna grow our money. But it has to be grown on a person, right? We can't put it on a building.
Right.
So
Okay. So it's not based on assets, it's cash.
it's cash.
Yeah, okay. So,
And that's actually how I got started. So I had a life insurance policy. I started when I was 27 years old. And when I started real estate, I had like no money at all. So I borrowed like 20 grand against my credit card and I borrowed money against my life insurance policy. So if I didn't have the life insurance policy, I would not have been able to achieve what I've achieved in this period of time. I think that really helped me because I had something to grab onto and leverage. And if I made one call within, I guess, 3 to 5 business days, they had a check mailed to my house and I was able to cash that thing in, deposit it right into my bank account. Yeah. Or they're depositing right
24
now.
hours.
But
It's
very
yours.
easy. Yeah.
So when we sit down with someone, we have an overall talk about what your goals are, what your resources are, and if this is the right move for you, right? Because you know, I'm a fiduciary, I'm commission based, but I'm not going to put you in something that I can't sleep at night because I know your family is going to be at risk. You know, it's like, do I pay my policy? Do I pay my mortgage? We're not going to do that. But for certain people, when their goals align with their resources, man, it's some crazy stuff that people do. Did you guys know that you can finance your insurance premium? Like you can get this huge policy that cash builds very fast. You finance the payment to make the insurance policy.
no,
Like it gets crazy. People buy other people's life insurance
I've
policies.
been doing that. That's
All right, so it's like, hey, I'm 60, I've been diagnosed with XYZ, I got Chick-fil-A syndrome, and doctor said I got 6 months and I got a $2 million policy. It's like, hey, man, I'll give you 1.4 cash right now for your policy. Have that.
Yeah.
When that person passed away, they collect $200,000 tax-free. I mean, $2 million tax-free.
Yeah, I was just saying.
I have a question about that. So leveraging it through the bank, do you have to be an ultra high net worth individual in order to do that?
When you do that, you do have to have assets,
5 million?
as little as 2.
Where the real estate is gone, that's probably more people walking around than normal, you know.
Hey, before Domel chats a little bit, we had a question from Nicole, one of our virtual attendees. I think Mo, you might want to take this one. Are mobile homes profitable when starting out?
You know, I would say I've flipped quite a few mobile homes and I've owned a bunch of mobile home parks and have sold and flipped a bunch. So I would say for me, it's been very profitable, but I don't really like flipping mobile homes, like individual ones. They're very hard to finance and you have to jump through a lot of hoops and the repairs can really be crazy. Like I bought one recently for like 50 grand and everything that could go wrong went wrong. So I had to replace the septic because the well wasn't close enough. So the codes have changed and a lot of the laws in mobile homes, like individual ones, can change a lot. And then when it comes to replacing them, you know, you may have to pay impact fees again. So it can get very costly. So you got to be really careful. And then if the market does kind of shift a little bit, mobile homes will probably depreciate way faster. So I would say mobile homes can actually be great buy and holds if you can get owner financing terms because they're hard to finance. So I would say that, you know, you can easily make, I think Tom has done some of this. You could probably make 20-25% or 25 cap rate on some mobile homes.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really recommend starting off that way. I think if I was starting off, again, just find the deals and bring it to a seasoned investor and just bring it to them and let them partner on it with you. That'll be the fastest, easiest way to really start flipping, I think. And then you'll have their resources because it does take time to build as a home flipper. It takes time to build the right team. And that's probably the hardest part is dealing with the contractors and finding people that are trustworthy because it's the type of business where you're not really finding good people, reliable people. You know, they may come start to work and leave. But a seasoned home flipper will have an amazing team in place. They'll be able to do faster and cheaper than you can. And then it might be a passion project for you and you're probably going to over improve and put the nicest flooring in there and try to do full HD TV stuff and not really be profitable. So I think the best thing to do again is to partner with a home flipper if you're trying to make some money really quickly.
Love it. Nicole, I hope that answered your question. You guys are just dropping so much value. I feel like I have I've just learned so much myself. Jamel, I know we got your screen up. I think we compressed this to probably about 15 to 20 minutes to give people a little insight as to what it would look like to, be, a part of your syndication and the opportunities that are there. And then, yeah, hopefully we can brew up some conversations.
Yeah, I think what's really dope is, so we're Team Capital, mentioned a few times, we're syndicators and we're innovators because when you look at commercial buildings, right, you always wonder who owns these. Do they look like us, And we're changing the game, they're gonna look like everybody in this room. So that's pretty, and the other dope ass thing is that I believe we're the only ones in the nation that's part of GRID, that's taking this on, that's talking about multifamily, that's talking about all these, Northern Mutual, all this diversity in investments. And we're definitely changing what GRID is doing right here in this place, man. So it's pretty cool.
I wanna put it at the- Nothing's working tonight.
Come on, man.
It was working.
Was
Okay.
And in the meantime, guys, if you guys haven't joined the GRID network, investor network, make sure you find them on Facebook and on the meetup that you click to become a member. So this way you don't miss out on any of our future speakers, events, and eventually we also will be having a couple private GRID mastermind dinners. So. This is me killing the airspace.
In Ella we trust.
I think we could see it there.
I'll just move through it for you.
Oh, real quick disclaimer, I'm not a wealth advisor. I'm not a CPA. I'm your neighborhood dude.
That'll help you find something.
So we're a team. You can't do anything by yourself. Really, they say if you want to go fast, you can go alone, but if you want to go far, go as a team. So we've got a full staff. My partner over here, partner in crime, is this guy right here. You might recognize that background. This is the rest of our team. We're operators, so we take complexes like this, a building like this, a commercial building like this, with investor capital. And while we send them direct deposits, we're out here making sure that Veronica's paying her rent, the guy next door is paying their rents, any repairs, we're managing the operations itself, making sure that the income is increasing for our investors and the expenses are decreasing as much as possible. So I put the slide up because I feel this is what happened to me. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. I feel like I was walking by a door, it was just crept open like this. My nosy ass walked in to find out what's going on. I see a bunch of people sitting around the table. And in this table, they're looking at graphs, charts, talking lingo, financial information. They stop, look at me. And, I'm like, okay, I stumbled in here, my bad. And, no, come on in. Sat me at the table and showed me how wealth is built in America with real estate. We often think it's one house at a time, when in reality, the wealth are playing these big games with these, $1 million buildings, projects like this. So I was lucky to be put in a room of people doing these big, major deals and collaborating with investors, everyday investors. That's when I realized that anybody can participate. And that's, blew my mind. And I had to come share it because big reggae fan, big Bob Marley fan. And he has a song called Pass It On. And one of the lines in it says, be not selfish in your doing, pass it on. So that comes to knowledge. That's what we must pass on. We find these cool things like infinite banking. We must pass these things on. And that's why we're here. Now we're on a mission because by 2050, there's a stat that says there was a study nationwide, and the stat came back and said by 2050, Black and Latino households are gonna have negative net worth. That means that we're gonna spend more than we make. That also means we're not gonna own anything. We're just gonna be renters and not gonna have any worth. You know, for us, that's a lot of people that's in this room, that affects everybody here. And we take it as a mission to say, not under our watch, you know, not under our lifetime. It's our mission to curb that. And we talked about what a syndication is. I think by now, hopefully you guys understand the concept of it, of pooling funds from investors, creating this fund. They get direct deposits and we operate the properties. And why apartments? Because we're becoming a renters nation. Since 1960, the renters have steadily been increasing. There's no secret why you drive around Orlando and everywhere you see apartment complexes going up. More permits for apartments to be built. There's not enough, there's so much demand, there's not enough housing for renters right now. So historically, it's the most stable asset of all commercial assets. It's recession proof because, like, let's talk about inflation. As inflation goes, so do our rents. And for us, that's a good thing because that's our revenue source. Increasing demand. Millennials and Gen Zs are tending to not buy. They're electing to rent. Baby boomers are downsizing. And in migration, people are coming from other states to the warmer states. Immigration from Latin America and Europe. And controlled value, one of the cool things that Mo mentioned was the property value. What he didn't hit on, the detail is the value of the property is not dependent on comps necessarily like residential. Like right now, residential, the house next door, your house is not worth too much more than the houses around your neighborhood. Whereas in commercial, it's what's called forced appreciation. We could take the property and it's a $2 million property, and by increasing rents, because you know we all here know property values, NOI over cap rate being static. You know, let's not dive into what cap rate means, but cap rates being static, as they increase revenue, the property value goes up. So that means I just forced $1 million. In that example, I forced $1 million appreciation, pure profit of this property only by improving the income. It's a secret weapon of the wealthy. So we talked about the tax benefits. You know, we talked about all these secret weapons. You don't pay taxes on, again, I'm not a wealth advisor or a tax advisor, but you don't pay taxes on the income that you make from these properties. It's tax deferred because of things like called bonus depreciation, accelerated depreciation. So if you're making $1,000 a month from our multifamily projects, you're not paying any taxes on that for the life of the project. Consult with your attorney or your CPA. Disclaimer. So on a high level, how a syndication works is you have two teams. You have what's called a general partner, who's the operator, the manager, and you've got a limited partner, which is a passive investors. The limited partner, the passive investor, puts the capital into the deal with the expectation that the general partner, aka the operator, is gonna give them a return on their investment. And how this works, we have a cycle of how it works. You can't do anything without investors. You know, we can't buy this building here without having the cash. And I don't have the cash right now to buy it myself. But if I say, hey, everybody here, if everybody puts 50K into this deal, we can take this down immediately. So that's how we take these projects down together. So first start with the investors, then find the market, reach out to motivated sellers or brokers, underwriting, which is the financial analysis of the deal, and inspect it, which means the audit of the financials. Are the financials legit? Because you're buying, this is the concept, you're buying an enterprise, you're buying a business, you're not buying a real estate, you're not buying a house, you're not buying a thing, you're buying a company, an enterprise. So we want to do full inspections to make sure that they're really legit getting that income and that their expenses really are that low or that high. key financial metrics. So just a couple of high-level terms. Initial investment, that's the entry into the project. Hold time is how long we intend to keep a project. Cash on cash return, that's your annual return. This is the annual return based on your investment, and the average annual return, 18%. This is an average deal for us. And what that means is you get paid from appreciation, you get paid from cash flow. You combine the two, and that gives you about an 18% average annual return. That's 18% how much your cash is growing, independent of what the economy is doing. Which is why we love that more than we love stocks. What are the risks? It's illiquid, which means that much like buying a house, you put that capital into the house, you can't go to the bank and say, hey, you know what, give me that 50G back. It's same as us. We take your capital and we use it to buy the building. So it's illiquid. Increasing vacancy rates. What if the property that we buy all of a sudden loses a lot of people? Well, to mitigate that, you know, we study the markets and we find high demand markets. And then recession. What happens in a recession? Historically, you have 4 different classes of buildings: Class A, B, C, D. Historically, Class A is all these badass, you know, the brand new developments that we see that people are paying $2,500, $3,500 a month. But when they lose their jobs or things get tight, they leave and come down to Class B and C apartments. And that's what we love to live in. Those Class B and Class C, workforce housing, always in demand. Historically has always had high occupancy. The benefits, cash flow. You get legit spendable cash flow. Most living off cash flow from these investments. You get the tax benefits of depreciation and your 1031. You can roll over 1031 into our deals. IRA and 401k friendly. Well, we didn't talk about this, but you can create a 401k, a solo 401k. And if you guys are real estate professionals and don't have a solo 401k, you need to go out and get one immediately, because that's awesome wealth protection as well. But you can have your IRA or your 401k invest in the deal. And it's a static investment, meaning that you invested 50 G's into the deal. That 50 G had a bunch of little babies, and at the end, we'll give you that 50 G's back. We have a case study, an actual property that we purchased up in Lake City. We took it from this to this. So we bought it, it was a little bit dilapidated, but we saw value. We studied the market. It's in Lake City, it's a tertiary market, but we realized it's in high demand. When we purchased this property, it was in 100% occupancy. It's 102 units. So when you think about apartment complexes, and somebody tells you they're 100% occupied, the first thing that comes to mind is they're under market, because you got to keep pushing that market. You got to keep pushing the rents up. And that's why if you guys live in apartments, the rents go up every year, is because we're trying to find that ceiling. If we're still 100% full, then we need to raise another $100, raise another $100 until it starts cavitating. Then we realize, okay, we reached the top. But that's what we did in this market when we purchased it. We purchased it for $4.3 million. And so just to illustrate how what the business plan was and how we increased investor capital, when we purchased it, the rents were $441 on average. Today we're getting over $1,000 rents. And we bought it for 4.3, and we have it under contract right now for 7.5 million. Our investors are enjoying an average of 8.8 cash on cash, spendable, direct deposited into the bank account, cash every year. And they have the paper losses from the depreciation, so they're not paying any taxes. It's being deferred, of course. As Uncle Sam, Roselle said it, Uncle Sam always wants his, but you're deferring it. You're not paying taxes on that until you sell. And a sample, so for this particular property, this is what we projected. We projected these returns for investors. And we've simplified this a little bit to show you with a $100,000 investment, year one, you're getting $8,400 annually, or $699 a month. passively, completely passively spendable. And every year it goes up as we're pushing the business plan. And at the end of year 5, which is our projection, we sell, and we're projecting that you're gonna get another $44,000 from depreciation. So you've got this 47 from all the years of holding it and cash flowing, plus depreciation, the proceeds from the sale. Or collectively, you made 91 grand on that 100 grand. So at the end, we give you your 100 grand back. We can do it, rinse and repeat. That gives you an average annual return of 18%. For this particular property, because we've only owned it 2 years, and we're actually going to return a little bit higher in 2 years. We're going to give our investors almost $100,000 of profit in just 2 years because of the business plan, because of inflation. We're able to raise rents. Compounding, Mo mentioned compounding. This is why compounding is so important. Let's say you did a deal every year for the next 5 years. You can see your monthly, this is your monthly compounding return. You know, you can see it year 1, you're 583, year 2, you have 1,200 a month, year 3, 1,800 a month, year 4, 2,400, and then year 5, you're almost at 3 grand a month, completely passively by investing 100 grand every year into a project. And let's say you can only do 50 a year, then just cut that number in half. But that's the power of compounding. This is every day. Just hit your bank, hit your bank account every month. And if you did our 18% after 5 deals, that 500 grand is almost $1 million. But that's how money is accelerated. Using these tools. And right now we're working on a deal right now in Valdosta, Georgia. And it's actually down the street. Our friends here I found a property down the street from this guy right here. We were talking about this one yesterday. But
I used to live on that street.
on Park?
Yep.
Which complex?
The one furthest down on the right, I played football there. 06, so I can't remember it, but it was on 10.
Or the one that Hornets found. So we own one right next door. This is 1505. We own 1425. So we're negotiating this guy right now. 1425. We bought it. Average rents are $600, and our first renovated units are getting $995. So we're almost doubling the rents. Our business plan. We're going to accelerate our 5-year business plan and knock that out of the park within the first 2 years. So our investors are projecting a slow roll of hitting their 7% returns, and we're going to give them more, a lot faster. But this is the deal that we're looking at right now. It's a 2-story building. So and the thing is that you, as an investor, you own a share. So you are an owner. This is yours. You could drive up to Valdosta and touch it. This is yours. This is legit. It's cool. It's got a pool and everything. So maybe you were swimming there after your games. And what we do is we buy properties that need some kind of renovations, like Israel fixes and flips. We fix and flip the units, the individual apartments. And this is a prototype of what we're looking to do. The current seller has done 2 or 3 only, and he's already getting his $900. So he's taking a proof of concept and says, "Hey, this works. I just proved it." And so we're going to take that and keep it going. It's a Class C property because it's older. It's 1967 vintage, but it's a Class B area. It's in high demand. These things are 100% occupied. What did we just talk about? 100% occupied means there's room to raise rents. We're planning to hold this property for 5 years. We're projecting adding $4 million of profit on top of what we're purchasing it at. We're purchasing it at $6 million. We're projecting it's going to be worth over $10 million when we sell in 5 years. We're giving you guys this is a 7% deal, and this particular property particular project's got a cool feature in that we have a refinance at the end of year 3. What does refinance mean to you? It's tax-free money in your pocket. So we're gonna give you 65% of your money back. So you have 100 grand, we'll give you 65K back. They can put it to another deal that Uncle Sam doesn't know about yet. So now you can have 2 deals going at the same time while they're growing. And just because you guys need to know who you're rocking with, we do have experience. We've been doing this, we've been in this game for about 4 years. We've been in real estate for over a decade. But over the last 4 years, we've got a track record, a successful track record. We've already sold two of our properties for healthy returns to our investors, and all the other ones are just cash flowing above projections. So where do we invest? Florida, Georgia, Southeast. Any questions on syndications?
You do accredited investors or non-accredited investors?
Non-accredited and accredited. So we do 506Bs. So it's open to everybody. Accredited is typically high net worth individuals.
What's the minimum investment someone would have to make it work?
50K. We do 50K minimum investments. Easy for you, man. You probably do it every month.
Right.
Who's the host?
Veronica.
Veronica,
Can you hear us?
yours. Thank you.
Did you guys? Domel, you are always. Sorry, I was muted. Sorry about that. I mean, if all of you, if everybody is I'm a super fan of Domel, but like every time I hear him speak, I feel I become more knowledgeable and I just want to open my checkbook and give him all my money. So everybody go ahead and open your checkbook, give him all your money. It's like church, we're gonna go around now and pass the bucket, right? No, man, this is a really great opportunity. And I just feel like education is empowerment, right? And you might think that this is so far-fetched, but this is really awesome that we can really get started in these areas of our business, whether it's with the syndication or whether it's, starting off with your first buy and hold and speaking to someone like Roselle or Hobby or Mo. I mean, there's a place for you to get started or a place for you to partner with great people. So, we want to keep this to the integrity of the time frame from 6:30 to 8. I really, really hope that you guys did you guys get value out of this one? I know I did. Show of hands, I can see you guys. I see all your faces. So, I would love to just ask real quick before we wrap up, and you guys are gonna, send me away in Zoom land, and you guys will probably stay around and mingle. But anybody have anything that they want to share that they learned that was an aha moment or something they had no idea of that they feel like walking away a little smarter today and ready to go invest? Anybody?
Yeah.
What do you say?
Eric's saying the Roselle stuff, the infinite banking.
Assuming a life insurance policy.
Assuming a life insurance policy.
There you go.
I love that. I love that. Anyone else?
That's your next syndication. Go buy them.
Yeah, believe it or not, those life insurance companies, they invest in our deals. We're working on a $40 million deal right now in Georgia. And we're partnering with the life insurance fund.
That's smart.
Yeah, they invest. So like you guys put that capital into their funds. And they full circle moment, they come back and hand it to us to manage for you guys.
I feel like this is the most opportune time. The opportunities that I believe we are going to start seeing are really great opportunities. And that's why these rooms are so important, and knowing who you can call and who to partner with. So I'm super excited, grateful for this community. I hope you guys stick around and network and really brew up some deals. Thank you for our online community for being here. I went ahead and put everybody's handle in the comments. Mo, Roselle, Domel, Javier, you guys can follow them on IG. Please make sure you get their numbers for them. And for those of us who are online, we're gonna say peace out. For those of you who are local, enjoy the rest of the evening. And and hopefully you guys can brew up some deals, take pictures, invite people, please, to Grid, invite them. There's a page that we actually have, a Grid network on Facebook that Dwamel is actually very active in. And I'm seeing people like partner on deals too. So if you do not have the information on being a part of our Facebook group, if you could see Isis, and she will make sure that you guys know exactly which group that is. Isis, if you could wave your hand for those of you who don't know who she is, there she is. She's the pretty girl in the front who helps me run a Grid network, and wishing you guys all the success in the world and lots of investments. Let's go make all your dreams come true. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys.